Turns out trying to play a game did not work. Trying to make a game crashed the system. Is my audio working this time? Okay, well, it looks like it's working. All right, so I'm just gonna stay here now. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna break the game anymore. I'm not gonna break the YouTube. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna talk to you. You can talk to me about anything. Because you may not know this, but I'm Matt Conn. I'm kind of a big deal. For better or worse. YouTube do be goofy. You're right. So, Jake, how have you been? Is there anything that I can tell you about Damn or Toe Jam and Earl? I had a chat with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, the other day. That was pretty cool. And I chat with our main man, Greg. I'm going to see him in Japan in a month or two. And, just working on keeping my head above water. Mostly just watching the bloodbath of the games industry and trying to keep my head from getting... It's pretty scary. I mean, it's pretty bad. But, I don't know. I guess a lot of people have it a lot worse, so can't get too mad. I kind of look like a vampire right now, don't you think? Kind of look like a vampire man. Like, I'm gonna suck your blood. It was a great surprise. I didn't know they were gonna do it. I had spoken with Angry Video Game Nerd a couple years ago when I was doing the Toe Jam and Earl stuff, for my job. And I had asked him if he wanted to, meet Greg and do a video about Toe Jam and Earl. And he basically kind of was like, oh, he's like, oh, it's good to meet you. And he's like, well, I don't know what I would do because I only play bad games and I like Toe Jam and Earl. And I was like, kind of being like, well, it would help Toe Jam and Earl a lot if you did a video about them, but I understand. But clearly they eventually found something to talk about. So that's good. And yeah, I mean, good. I mean, obviously there's like 1 million viewers and that's going to help keep Toe Jam and Earl alive. Shout out, please. Wow. This is my first person to ask me for a shout out. So here's a shout out to Dominique Miller P2XZ. No, gotta do it again. At Dominique Miller P2X7D. There's your shout out. I met them both a couple times at Too Many Games. Yeah, I haven't met Scott the Woz ever, but I met James and he's cool. I've met enough crazy celebrities. I don't know if a lot of people you got here know this, but I've hung out with a lot of celebrities. For better or worse, I started, when I was younger, especially, I was very I wanted to be in the cool crowd. So, I was hanging out with I've hung out with Diplo and the Wu-Tang Clan and a bunch of Jared Leto, a bunch of weird people. And for the most part, most of these people sucked. Not specifically, but for the most part, they're just regular egotistical narcissists, but they're talented. But it's not like you learn that celebrities are not anything special necessarily. They're all just, flawed humans who, for the most part, I mean, especially with someone like Macaulay or whatever, right? They got forced kind of into being an actor. So, when you hang out with him and we would talk about different stuff. I was hanging out with Macaulay and a couple people, and someone brought up something that Topanga from Boy Meets World was hot. And he was like, yeah, she probably was forced into doing that and so doesn't want to do this career or whatever, right? And it became really oh, that sucks. Because if anyone would know what it's like to be a child actor, he would. So, yeah. So anyways, wow, we have 13 people joining. Wow. Look at all these people. I don't even know 13 people. So so thanks everybody for joining. This is my very, very first video. Now we're down to 5. How did I go from 13 to 5? What did I do in the last 10 seconds to go from 13 to 5? Oh, no, back up. It's just a wave. I don't know how this works. I mean, am I supposed to just sit here and go, oh, coffee's so good, ice cream, brr, 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 brr. Oh, I like glasses. I like glasses. I don't know. I mean, I haven't gotten any stickers, so I don't know how I'm supposed to react yet. But maybe once I do, it'll like come to me. Um, but yeah, what up, Dominique? And yeah, Jake. I mean, I've been working on Damn. Like, I'm not really happy with where things went with it. Like I don't think Damnation is really what I wanted it to be, and I'm trying to make the Damn PC version, but it's just like complicated. It's something that it's like, believe me, I would be very happy if it was done or it was like moving along. But a lot of it is like, I got to find someone who's going to pay for it. And the only reason why the mobile version even came out in the first place is that someone gave me some money to do part of it. And that was the only reason why we're even to move forward. And that's kind of why it sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck. I, don't know, I think it's good. I think there's some good base to it. And like, I think that we're getting to a good place with it. I like Damnation. It's a great film. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. I mean, I like what it is, but I think that, there's a lot of people who kind of either review bomb it or are not fans of it, mostly because they're like, this is not what I was promised with Damn. Like, people thought Damn was going to be this, like, co op Zombies Ate My Neighbors, like, and instead you get this, like, single player, auto shooter, mobile roguelike, which is like kind of like Rotato or whatever, and with in-app purchases. Like, it's not ideal. There is a Funkatron item, yeah, there is Funkatron. So we do have the PC version we've been working on really slowly, but it's just yeah. But ideally, right, the idea is that Damnation is Damnation, and then we'll have Damn. Damn will just be like the regular game on PC. And ideally, it would be co-op, obviously co-op, but like ideally the online co-op. It would have one of the things that we're going to do differently than the one on the mobile version is the houses will have like non-Euclidean rooms, so you can like kind of like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Like the map will be like kind of a fixed map of like, oh, you're at the mall, you're at the whatever. But then when you go into houses, they'll be kind of like individualized, randomized houses. So, um, yeah, I just want to do it. I'm kind of broke right now. Like it's like the amount of money it takes to make a game like that. Even on a low version, even if I used AI or try to make it really cheaply, it's still like I don't really have $50,000, $100,000 right now to just throw at it. So it's kind of so it's kind of going slower than I'd like, and but yeah. Um, oh well, thank you. And yeah, you can remove ads, and also if you know anyone that has the game and wants to play it, I have codes so they can remove the ads and don't gotta pay. Um, but yeah. So one of the things we actually are looking at though is porting the game to XR. So we've been chatting with like Apple and Meta and Pico and Google actually because all of them have these like wearable kind of shit they've been working on. And so we've been talking about like taking Damnation and like making it so that way there's sort of like some spatiality to it. Like it's still basically the same game, but like the pieces of it kind of like pop out. So um, that might be something that you might see in the future. Kind of just depends on if there's money and if the team that I'm working with wants to do it and can do it. Um, Honestly, I've been kind of dealing with this like completely unrelated to Firesoft or Cursory Studios issue that I've been dealing with now for I don't know 6 months, a year. Like basically, I've had to take on a pretty not so fun business thing that I can't even really talk about. That is in some ways is the result of my bad decisions from a decade ago, and I had someone who was helping me out with it, and they, I think, realized it was not something that they wanted to be dealing with because it's a complicated and legal thing, which is, they're right, but it's just been a lot to deal with. So that's also really dropping me from doing what I need to do, just because, like, oh man, like, I trying to, I don't know, I don't know if anyone cares about my personal life, but I want to just be making games, and unfortunately, I'm dealing with a lot of operational stuff, and also just a lot of like me being kooky dooky. Because I moved across the country, which is pretty cool, but also pretty intense. Um, and just reestablishing in a new place. Got out of a long relationship that was pretty rough. I mean, it was like, well, it was rough for me. And I'm getting to a better place there with that, but I don't know. Between that and like all the business like kind of craziness, and obviously like the game industry kind of imploding and like the world. Every day, not every day, but a lot of times I wake up and I go, I wonder if we're gonna fucking have nuclear Iran or some bullshit, and like everything's gonna change and none of this is gonna matter. So definitely that kind of stuff also keeps me up at night a lot, which sucks. Um, Ooh, I can add a Q&A sticker. Predator movie fan. Okay, they want me to try this. YouTube, start Q&A. Predator movie fan. Why? But why is the AI suggesting that I ask this? I didn't talk about Predator. Is this some sort of like, are they trying to say that I'm a predator? Is this some sort of like sponsored post by 20th Century Fox? I don't know, but yeah. Um, I've been working on a few other new games too. Like we have a couple prototypes that have been cool working on. Um, but I don't know. Really, I mean, honestly, my life has been kind of a little exciting, but not super exciting. And like I haven't really pushed the ball forward as much as I'd like with Damn on PC, Damnation, getting the next steps for Exercise Your Demons. And then I'm dealing with all like now that I'm kind of taking back mid boss stuff, dealing with that. So I don't know. I think I'm also just getting used to like being an adult. You know, crowdfunding does not interest you currently. It does. It does. I've been talking to the backer kit people, and basically I was gonna work with them because they have a crowdfunding platform, and I was gonna do something either for Dan or for the new Read Only Memories game. Um, but I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, I haven't really, ever since I took Damn from the Human Nature Studios thing and made it on its own thing. I haven't really been able to really get a community going. Like the old Twitter got stolen from us, so that Twitter is now gone. So we lost all those people. And then when I got hacked at the end of last year or early last year, I lost the Discord. So we have like the emails and we have the Steam, but kind of a little. We're kind of not doing super well in terms of like we don't really have a huge community to like be like, oh, here are these people that are interested in Damn. Um, and I just worry that like doing a Kickstarter is kind of like risky, right? Where you spend because basically we were gonna do something with Damn that was gonna fail because we were gonna do this Web3 bullshit that no one wanted, but we realized it was like I don't have an audience really right now. Like I think that like there's people who are interested in the original idea, but it's been so long since the original Damn kind of idea to like what it is now, and because it's on mobile, we're not collecting emails. We don't really know who our audience is. Um, there's kind of a disconnect, right? And I think also people don't trust us right now. I think that like if I mean, even though we didn't take anyone's money or anything, for years we were like we're gonna make Demons Ate My Neighbors. And it's gonna be this, and this, and it never happens. And then we go, oh, we're back and we're doing Damnation, and it's not really Demons Ate My Neighbors at all, and it's actually very different, and so a lot of people have been pretty upset. They've been, they email me and they go, whatever, they go, this isn't what I wanted. You said we were going to get Zombies in My Neighbors, and this is this other weird thing. And, I mean, some of that is entitlement, sort of, right? Where it's like some people, I mean, like ultimately, it's not like we took people's money and we're doing what we can. But it's real, right? Like, if you're a fan of a certain kind of game and people give you this other weird thing that you didn't ask for, you're like, I didn't ask for this. And so, I mean, I get it as like a player, and I think that just players don't understand the financial or business realities of why certain things happen, right? And like, sometimes like when a game, like a game will come out and it will suck when it comes out, and be like, well, the only reason why it came out is because it was to align with this product launch that Microsoft is doing, or it's showing this new technology or whatever. And that was the only reason that they even got enough money to go across the finish line, right? And so it's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, to me, the best games are the games that are made to taste, right? Where like you make the game as long as you need, you make it kind of without thinking about budget or time. You just kind of just make it, and you make the best thing you can. And of course, and when you have people like when you're making something like Nugenics or Slay the Spire 2 or Deltarune or whatever, when you have millions of dollars already and all this kind of like they have an installed fan base and you have a lot of money. I'm not saying whatever, but once you already have a fan base and you kind of have money, you can build much less, you can build it on your own pace, right? Which I think allows these games to cook properly and you get this really nice meal. And that's why I think that when you see a lot of this mainstream stuff, that's why a lot of times it sucks, or indie stuff can suck, is because you get to a point where like for me, I've learned like how to finish a game, even if the game is not good. It's like you just got like getting it out the door is half the battle. There's so many indie developers that try to make games, and they make a game or they get like 50%, 80% of the way there, and then they can't finish it, right? And that's a big reality for most game developers, where they think that getting across the finish line is the easy part, and it really is the hard part. So, but because when you're making a game to taste, generally that's generally the way that most indie games get made, is they're not thinking about, okay, here's the order, here's the timelines, here's the pipeline of how we're doing it. And you kind of need to do that if you're going to be working with bigger budgets or timelines, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good game. Like something like Exercise Demons or ToeJam and Earl, the newest one, could have been better if there was more money and time, right? If there wasn't like we have to get this out because we're out of money, and if we don't get that out by a certain time, Meta or Adult Swim isn't going to pay for the rest of the money, and then we're going to be, flat broke, right? And so you have to release it, and then people go, oh, this sucks. Why did you make this game come out of it? And it sucks. It's like, well, we had to, right? And so I've always been jealous, frankly, of like the Slay the Spire type people or whoever, right? Because they don't have to to abuse themselves or their team to like get the game thing out at a certain time. They got plenty of money and time. They got the trust of the audience, so they can just kind of make it as they, as it happens. And I think that's why the games are good, right? It's because like ultimately, I don't think you can rush art. You can rush a product, but you can't really rush art. And I think that's why the original Read Only Memories was so good, is that I think that we built it not knowing the right way to make a game, and so it was done in a very like chaotic and kind of like, we're just gonna do this, and does it feel good? Does it feel good? Does it feel good? Which is not really, again, when you make a normal game, you kind of have to be like, we're gonna spend so much time on this, and then that's how much time we have. And once we're out of time, that's it. Like, we're not gonna keep iterating. It was really surprising and cool to see the collaboration with Adult Swim. I loved the ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove Mountain Dew ad, even though the collaboration did not work in the end. Yeah, so the thing is, when I came on as Adult Swim was coming off, and that's partly how I got involved in it. Right, is that Adult Swim was like, we're shutting down the Adult Swim games division, and basically ToeJam and Earl was like already like one of their bigger projects, and they were like, they were like, we're not going to pay for it anymore, we're done. Which in a way was good, because like they had already put all this money in, and because they kind of gave up their stake on it, they weren't really entitled to anything but they're getting their money back. Like if the game was successful, they would get their money back, but they basically gave up their stake in the game's success, which is good, right? It's good for Greg and good for ToeJam and Earl, because then it's like, okay, cool, if the game is a success, now we own it again, and they handed it back. But basically they gave us the game back with no money, and that was when we had to bring in Macaulay Culkin, because basically I was like, okay, how are we going to raise another couple $100,000 to finish this game? And one of the ideas I had was looking at, I remember reading about how Macaulay Culkin had skipped one of the Oscars to stay home and play ToeJam and Earl, right? I was like, man, like, obviously Macaulay Culkin is loaded, and even if he doesn't give us a bunch of money, even if he just puts in a little bit of money and commits to like giving us some feedback, if we can put him as a credited executive producer, then of course other people are going to want to come in and be like, oh, if Macaulay Culkin's involved, I want to have my name involved. Like, who doesn't want to have a credit on a thing with Macaulay Culkin, right? So that's probably one of my proudest moments as like a producer, because that definitely, like, as soon as I got Macaulay in, getting another couple $100,000 from other people was like easy peasy. Because I think a lot of rich people, if they may not look at Toe Jam and Earl and be like, oh, that's going to make me my money back. But they do go, oh, well, I can have my name on a thing with Macaulay, and even if the game is a bomb, I have my thing on a thing with Macaulay. So that was cool. But yeah, I saw the Mountain Dew ad, but I didn't have anything to do with that. That was before I came on. Yeah. Um, yeah. I wonder, what's curious to me about this thing right now is like who sees this video. Like obviously, Jake, you saw it because you subscribed to my channel, and obviously we know each other, and so you get this message, or you're on YouTube, and it's like Matt's live now. But I'm always curious, like outside of the 2,000 people who subscribe to me, are the people who are coming in and out, are they just random, people like, are they good, like, am I part of a discovery wheel? Am I don't know. Is there some sort of algorithm? Anyways, I'm going to end this Q&A thing. That was stupid. Add a Q&A sticker. These recommendations suck. I'm not gonna add a Q&A sticker about Saturday Night Live. What else can I add here? Q&A, poll, countdown. I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna say Toe Jam or Earl, and I'm gonna say TJ for one, and we're gonna go Earl for the other. Let's see. Oh, well, Can I make it colored? Can I make that one? Oh no. Okay, so that just makes the entire poll. Okay, boom. Let's see what the kids say about Toe Jam and Earl. The vote is up. The vote is up, everybody. Look at the top of the screen. Oh, the first vote is in. Toe Jam got the first vote. Wow. Wow. Cool. I like the people who do these like videos where they like are on like a YouTube when they're like, oh. Like pointing to the thing. So, how about that Sora shutting down? It's done now. It's like done. It was already like as soon as starting yesterday or today, they basically like made it so you can't make videos anymore. So you people took away my video thing. I like doing it. Oh well. Oh well. I guess we don't need to burn all the oceans up. Would be cool to see a playable demo of Dam at a convention, maybe showcased by creators. I don't know if that would be of interest, but it would help the community at least a little. Yeah, the thing is that like we're pitching the Dam PC right now, and I have 5 different Dam PC builds. 5. 2009, 2019, 2020, 2021. 2 of them are 2021, and a 2020 like 5 one. It's just been crazy. Like we keep starting and stopping, and we just don't ever really get it off the ground, and it's kind of annoying. But I'd love to show it off at a thing sometime. But yeah, basically we put together a package of all the different builds, and we've been pitching it right now to some publishers and hoping that someone can see, hey, we could do it like this, we could do it like that. We have the brand now with Damnation, so I'm hoping that eventually something happens. We'll see. Yeah, AI is so weird, right? I mean, the thing is, like, I'm certainly not a fan of people using AI to deceive people, and it's kind of funny, like from like look how bad this is, or look how stupid this is, but clearly it's messing with a lot of older people. Like, I mean, older people didn't already have trouble before AI, knowing what was real or not, right? I mean, like whole fake news kind of thing. And now with AI, now it's like people can believe anything, right? And I could, if I had a good enough AI, and if I had a dumb enough person on the other side, I could be like, oh, I'm put on a little like whatever thing, and like, oh, I'm Timothy Chalamet. I need help. You're hey, pensioner. Like, I'm Timothy Chalamet. You should send me $500. So that's not good. And I don't think that and I think that in general, a lot of like the creative applications of AI are no good because it's like no one wants writing or art that's going to be AI created, right? Because it doesn't have a soul, and like there is something to that, right? Um, but at the same time, I mean, I think that like when you look at something like Waymo's, where it's like, yes, something like Waymo's is going to put all these taxi drivers, Uber drivers out of a job, and that's not necessarily good. But at the same time, it's like the data is in. It's like they don't crash and they don't get high or distracted. Like the crash rate and fatality rate is like crazy, crazy differential between them and humans. Where it goes like, yes, people losing their job and like what that means is bad. And there's other obviously things of like taking away people's autonomy, but in general, it seems like a win, right, for society if you know, and it's not like there's art. I mean, there's art. There is art to driving, obviously, but like ultimately, when I'm getting a ride, I don't care if a car is. I mean, if it's a robot driving my car. I do care if I'm watching a movie and the movie is just like some algorithm just spit out some bullshit like that's not good. I don't want that. Um, so I don't know. Like when I use AI for stuff like, hey, look at all my emails and like come back with the top five like I need to respond to right now. Right? Like that it can do that. And then be like, oh, okay, I don't really feel like that's cheating necessarily or like I'm plagiarizing anyone's work, because I'm like it's just reading my data and then like analyzing it and being like, okay, here's blah blah. Blah. So I don't know. I'm conflicted. And as a game developer, there's a lot of places where you can use AI. Um, and some of it I think is stuff that like doesn't matter. But obviously there's going to be a lot of people. There's a lot of charlatans are going to try to use AI and be like, I don't need to hire anybody, right? I can do almost everything myself, and it's that. And it's like, well, you know, if you think that if you think that movie and art and music that's made by AI is slop, video games that are made by AI is gonna be extra slop because it's like making a video game is like one of the hardest things to do because you're combining art and music and gameplay and story and tech all at the same time. And if you don't have like a good idea of like, okay, how did all these things work together in a meaningful way? And I don't think the AI can necessarily do that. Like there's AI can't like tell if a game is good or not. Like and I think that's one of the things like sometimes I talk to people who are like crazy AI people and they go, oh my god, the new rock or whatever is gonna take all these people out of jobs and like and VR game developers out of jobs. I'm like, no, it is not. It definitely is not. I think that people who make games are actually going to be in some ways be better, like are going to be fine for a while, but it is going to take certain jobs, right? Like I mean, like ultimately, if people can make placeholder assets with Meshi, and it's basically free and it's a placeholder, then or whatever. I mean, it's like people who own businesses are going to be like, all right, well, I'd rather do that, or if it's going to be like background image stuff that like no one cares about. So I think that there's going to need to be some sort of happy medium, where I think that consumers aren't going to accept slop, generally. But I also don't think that we need to live in a world where it needs to be like so pure that like every single thing has to be hand detailed. Right? Because when we already use when you're making a game in Unity, it's not like you don't go onto the Unity asset store and just buy shit. Like most games don't make by hand every part of the game. You go on, you go, okay, this thing takes place in Japan, and I'm gonna go, okay, well, I might make one or two buildings that are like my key art that are like whatever, and then everything else I can just recycle from an asset store for $100. Because like once you have a conbini, you don't need another conbini or whatever. Um, so um, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anything else that is on anyone's mind while I avoid doing my actual work? I started with a new therapist the other day, and I had to sign a waiver saying I was okay with an AI creating a transcript of our session. There was a laptop taking notes the whole time. Ugh. I mean, um, well, okay, well, yeah. So with that, that's I'm conflicted about that. I think that you know, I don't know if you've ever used AI note takers for meetings, but they are helpful. It is nice to be able to like a lot of psychologists or therapists in the past have recorded sessions so they can go back and listen to the notes. And it is nice that with like an AI recording, not only can you listen to the notes, but you can also like transcribe it and go, okay, I want to listen to that one thing and click into it. So that's nice, but I think it depends on like how it's used, right? I mean, if this person's like gonna use it to half-ass their job, I don't like that, and I don't like the idea of you using. I mean, of you being open and honest with someone and that data being potentially harvested. That's no good. Um, to think about that. There's currently a Mario Maker like Zam game, the level editor listed on Steam for Q2 release. It actually seems really cool, but I'm doubtful if anything will actually release. A Mario Maker like Zam game. Oh, interesting. You know what the name of it is? I mean, that sounds cool. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I do think that for better or worse, I think that the AI reckoning is coming right now, where it's like I think it's going to start slowing down quite a bit. Like as you guys have probably seen, like with OpenAI canceling all these contracts to order all the RAM prices like dropped overnight, and yeah, I mean I think that like similarly to Web3 games or metaverse stuff, ultimately, even though the technology has a lot of potential, if the people don't want it, then people don't want it, right? And it's like I think there's going to be places like Waymos or whatever where it's like I think that Waymos are going to be like it's clear that the AI drivers are better, right? And that I think that's the things that are going to win because there's going to be money there, right? Like it's like people will pay for automated cars, right? But if people don't want to pay to make videos or whatever bullshit AI crap that people are trying to spit, then a lot of these things might not last. I think it's gonna be both. I think that we're gonna definitely see industries that AI can basically do it good enough that are gonna just like get collapsed by AI. And I think there's gonna be other places where it's like people are gonna realize that AI can't do it well enough, and that if you're gonna have to have someone basically monitor it and take care of it, that you might as well just use humans anyways, Or like maybe there's ways to like put AI into the workflow, but not just do it all. It's called My Grandpa Turned Into a Zombie. At least he stopped asking when I'm having kids. Wait, the game is called My Grandpa Turned Into a Zombie. At least he stopped asking when I'm having kids? Or is it just called My Grandpa Turned Into a Zombie? If it's the full thing, I don't know if I can take it seriously. Wow. Hmm. Well, that's a that's a thing. Oh, one. This message is held for review. What? Okay, that is weird. The thing that you just said, that full thing, LOL, was held for review. Why? That I just don't like how AI like will fucking just like detect bullshit now and like yell at you. Like I sent my friend like on PlayStation something like, we were playing NBA 2K and I sent him something and I was like, I fucking kicked your ass. Blah, blah, blah. And then I got like an email from PlayStation that was like, you broke the terms of service. You're not allowed to speak like that. I'm like, bro, like shut the fuck up. Like I'm talking to my friend. Like I've known for 20 years and we're playing basketball. If I wanna like trash talk, I should be allowed to trash talk. It's not like, I don't know. It's not like I'm like trying to groom some kid or something. I'm just, or calling someone F like slurs. I'm literally just being like playing basketball with my friend, which of course sometimes you say stupid shit, and it's not like, again, it wasn't like anything crazy, and it was a one-on-one game, so I don't like that. And I know that a lot of places have that now. Like basically all any game of online play has like these new things, which I guess is good in the sense of like I remember 15, 10, 5 years ago when you log into certain things and it's just people just screaming the N word and being crazy and it was like unplayable. And now it's like the opposite, where it's like, I feel like everyone's got to be on their best behavior, which is, good and bad, right? I mean, like it's good, but it's like it's also a little like draconian, and like I kind of like the freedom of. I almost would rather that people just say whatever the fuck they want, as opposed to, oh, you got to behave a certain way, or else we're gonna come for you and take away your shit. I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I feel. So okay, well, this was fun. This was a good 30 minutes of talking to my good pal Kat. And now I know how to do a live video. Might do this again sometime. This was fun, I guess. And yeah. I guess back to work. Maybe I'll live stream me working sometime. Like, I think people are always interested in the kind of stuff I work on, so maybe that'll be something I do one day. But, Jake, always a pleasure. Thank you for spending time with me. If you ever need anything, reach out anytime. And as the cool kids say, Matane! Goodbye, everybody.